Hey guys, this is me doing the pre-lab for the internal cat organs. As you can see, this is the book that I'm going to show the pictures in. It's only $1.99 on iTunes. It has great pictures and it does little videos and everything. I'm going to mainly be going over the videos, but it is only $1.99. I recommend that you get it if you need some help or if you don't need any help. Okay, if you look down here, this is the opening right here. I'm in section 2 of the trachea and the esophagus. One thing I wanted to show you about this book is you can get, just like you could in the muscles, you can click on the frog and it gives you a whole view of the cat itself and what it looks like. If you look right here, what we have is the thoracic cavity, and then dividing that is the diaphragm, and then you have the abdominal cavity down here. So what I'm going to do is trace everything from the top to the bottom, okay? So let's get started. Okay, gotta navigate, you know me. Okay, so here we have the esophagus and the trachea. The trachea is this one that looks kind of like a flexible straw. It's on top. When you open the throat, that's the first thing you see. Underneath it is the esophagus right here. Right at the very top is the larynx, and it is covered generally by thyroid tissue that you can see a little bit of right there. As the trachea goes down, it goes to the lungs. The esophagus goes to the stomach. When you open up the thoracic cavity, you can see the trachea going down on top of the esophagus right here. The thymus covers the top of the heart. In immature cats, it's bigger than it is in mature cats. They tend to get smaller, just like tonsils do in humans. If you look right there, that's a thymus. It sits on top of the heart. I usually feel the heart at the apex and go up. And then this is the heart itself, and these are the lungs right here on either side. If you look right here, this is the lining that covers the heart. Again, here are the lungs right here. So the trachea goes to the lungs, obviously. The esophagus continues down back behind the heart. This is the diaphragm again that's dividing out the abdominal cavity. As food goes down the, hold on just a second. Sorry. Okay, so these are the thoracic cavities right here. The only thing I'm really interested in is that this is the thoracic cavity. This is the diaphragm that divides it out. I'm not interested in the pericardium or the pleural cavities, okay, even though the lungs are in the pleural cavities and the heart is in the pericardium. Okay. So we've got the areas in the thoracic cavity right here. Now what we're going to do is go and look in the abdominal cavity. Remember, what's going to happen is the esophagus is going to go into the stomach. But when you open the abdominal cavity, the first thing you're going to see is this big sheet of mesentery called the greater omentum. And it kind of covers and keeps everything intact right here. It's a big sheet of membranes and everything, and you can see it also has adipose tissue in there. We will lift that up and cut it out, and then we can better see the organs underlying it. A quick view right here, this is the liver, okay, that is underneath the stomach. The esophagus empties into the stomach right here, continues to the small intestines and to the large intestines. If you look over here, this is the liver, this is the spleen. Cat spleen is much bigger in ratio to their body than humans are. Okay, right here is the liver. You can see it right underneath the diaphragm. This is the stomach right here. In between the lobes of the liver is the gallbladder. It's a little bitty sac that is often green. Contains bile to dissolve food and fats. So right here you can see this is the stomach. The stomach connects to the small intestine right here, and there's actually 3 parts of the small intestine. Here's the stomach. If you look right here, it connects to the small intestine over here, and it's connected to the small intestine by the section of the small intestine called the duodenum. Okay, so you got right here, this is the duodenum, and then it turns into the jejunum, which is the major part. Remember, in humans, this can be up to 30 feet long. So this is the jejunum right there. And then the bottom part that connects to the large intestines is called the ileum. Like I said, this is showing the duodenum right there, the duodenum, said either way. This is the jejunum right here. You can see they're lifting up the stomach there. This is a good place to see the pancreas. This is the pancreas right in here. It's sort of L-shaped. It runs beside the duodenum and then goes right underneath the stomach. And it's usually enmeshed in mesentery, or a covering. Sorry. Okay, like I said, this is showing you part of the L. This is the leg, and then it goes all the way this way right here. Over here, you can see a little bit of the spleen. So when we empty out, we go through the small intestines, through the duodenum, the duodenum, and the ileum. That's all the small intestines until we get to the large intestines. Also, the duodenum is all held together by this mesentery in here. It has lymph nodes, highly vascular, because remember, we're trying to take everything out of our stomach and put it into our circulatory system so we can use it for our cells. This is showing you a spleen. This spleen is highly divided. A lot of times it looks like a little tongue, but this one has a lot of creases in it and everything. A lot of times it will not. It'll just be like a straight line that's tissue very similar to the liver. Okay, so here we see the ileum right here entering into the large intestines. The large intestines is larger in diameter, and also you enter it in through the ileocecal valve. I didn't tell you about the valves. From the esophagus to the stomach is the cardiac valve. From the stomach into the small intestines is the pyloric valve. And from the small intestines and the large intestines is the ileocecal valve. This little area right here is the cecum. You do not have to know that for the practical, but this is the cecum. This is where it's actually attaching right here. Sorry, I had told you that was the ileum. That's actually the duodenum. It's in the back and it comes up to the jejunum, and then here is the ileum attaching at the large intestines. Large intestines, there's actually 3 parts. There's the ascending, which goes back up. And let's see, we got it here, sorry. Okay. Let me go back one. Okay, so this is the ascending colon right here where it enters the small intestines. It goes up and then it goes over, and that's called the transverse, and then it goes down, and that is called the descending right here. And then it goes out once you have right there, and that's the rectum. So after that, it goes out. So that's the tracing of the digestive system. Go over it again in class as we go through the cats and everything. Now we're going to the urinary tract system. Okay, if you look right here at the very back, this is with everything taken out. Here's the liver, here's the duodenum, there's the large intestines. This is the kidney right here. The kidney goes and filters all the blood and then moves things through the ureter and out through the bladder right here, okay? This is a female, I can tell that because she has uterine horns right here that would be underneath the bladder, and this is the rectum right here. So you're going to have to know all of those parts also. On top of the kidneys are adrenal glands. I don't have you know that, but and identify it, but they're right there. The ureters, like I said, go from the kidney down to the bladder right here. They're just a small tube that often runs besides the renal veins and arteries that are exiting out. Or you can see it a little bit better that way. Sorry. Okay, so here is the bladder. Like I said, it's the most in the pelvic floor right here. The bladder is generally the one right on top that you see. And then underneath that are uterine horns if you're a female. Okay, and that's all that we've got this year, are females. And then underneath that is the rectum. So it sort of occurs in those layers. So that's the reproductive tract. If you look at the uterine horns right here, here's the uterine horns underneath this bladder right here. And at the very tip of the uterine horns are the ovaries right here, where the little, it looks like a little bean shape. If you look right here, here's the kidney against that black wall. You have uterine horns that go up both sides, right and left, sorry. If you look here, the last thing is what a male cat, the only thing I have y'all identify in a male cat is the this right here. It's part of the vas deferens right here. And what it is, you can see a little loop at the base of the bladder. And it's where semen moves out from the testicles and goes to the penis and loops around the edge of the bladder. This is it over here on this edge. It loops around both sides. You can see it right here. And here he's actually has it in forceps. That's basically the parts of the respiratory system up in the thoracic cavity, the digestive system, the urinary tract system, and the reproductive system. That's just an overview, so we'll get more and more familiar as we go through all of this. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.